You're listening to the Big Sci-Fi Podcast, a podcast of the Trek Geeks Podcast Network. It's season 9 here at the Big Sci-Fi Podcast, and we're excited because 9 comes before 10, which comes before, well, you know what I mean. We're having a blast, still talking about all things science fiction, and this season is set to be our biggest and most epic season yet. We're having more fun than we've ever had, and we invite you to invite all of your friends and tune in each week to new episodes as we explore the cosmos of science fiction. We're getting ready to blast off in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello and welcome back to the Big Sci-Fi Podcast, where we talk all things sci-fi. On this show, we get nerdy, we get spicy, and sometimes we laugh hysterically. If you've been with us for any amount of time, then you know that we are massive Trekkies and can bring Trek into any conversation. Today, we will not be talking about Star Trek, but instead, we're talking about a show that I would call Star Trek adjacent. A show that our good friend Jeffrey Morris loves so much, he made a documentary about it. The show is none other than Space 1999. To help me break down this very interesting piece of sci-fi history are my usual crew of sci-fi junkies. Brian Donahue.
Hey everybody, it's Brian from Canton.
Steve Merkin.
Hello, my friends, from beautiful Los Angeles, California, where it's going to be very hot, hot, hot.
And Adina Mignona.
Hey everybody, it's Adina from Maryland.
How is everyone on this fine Wednesday night?
I'm ready to talk about Star Trek. Oh wait,
Oh, Star
we're
Trek.
not talking about.
The over and under was 2 minutes on that. You know that we would mention Star Trek. It was the over and under. You know, I think
Exactly.
in Vegas they just lost a lot of money on that bet.
Yeah, right.
No,
We're
I'm
doing
ready
good.
to talk about
Yeah.
Space 1999.
Yes, I am
Very
so
excited.
excited for
Ready.
this.
All right, okay.
So, to get this discussion started, I want to hear everyone's overall thoughts on this series. It sounds like we're all pretty positive on it. That's what I'm gathering. But how is everyone feeling about Space 1999 and the first episode, Breakaway?
If you want, I'll go first by saying I watched the series when it first aired in 1975. It appeared on one of the local channels called KHJ, and I watched both seasons. I loved it. Well, again, you just have to say Jerry and Sylvia Anderson, and I'm drooling already back then about wanting to watch what they were going to show. From watching Supercar to Thunderbirds to UFO to this show. If it had Jerry Anderson's name attached, I watched it, and it was another one of his really great shows.
That's so interesting, Steve, because I never heard of this show until we had Jeffrey Morris on our show.
Really?
Oh wow!
Yeah, I never heard of this or caught wind of it somehow. I don't remember it ever being on any of the local stations that typically had reruns. This one I just missed somehow. So now it's something that I'm excited to dive into all the way as I watch this first episode and have learned more because of our getting to know Jeffrey Morris, the filmmaker, and hearing his thoughts on it. I'm fascinated by this show, and it's got a great cast, fantastic special effects for its time, and how can you beat that kind of disco-ish theme song at the beginning? You know,
that is the great Barry Gray, who did all of Supercar, Thunderbirds, Fireball XL5, every one of the series, every one of the movies. It wasn't the only thing he didn't do was the second season of this series, and you can hear his style of music always in a Jerry Anderson film or TV show. Yeah.
Also got to say, I love the bell bottoms. I think
It was 1975, kids.
Yeah.
So I was alive when it came out, although a little too young to watch it. But I've been aware of it. So in high school, is when I became, between junior high and high school, that is when I became a deep Trekkie. So I've been aware of science fiction and into science fiction my entire life. Big Star Wars fan since I was a kid, reading a lot because my dad had stuff on the shelves. But when I became a Trekkie, then it was like after I had watched all the possible Trek I could watch,
Mm-hmm.
I wanted other science fiction. And so I remember just looking for other science fiction at the video store, at science fiction conventions. Sometimes, they would sell videotapes of stuff. I would look on TV for, I would look at the listings or, is something that looks like it's science fiction playing? So throughout that, I know I was aware of Space 1999. I don't remember when I first saw some of it.
Mm-hmm.
And up until watching or rewatching episode 1 the other day to prepare for this, I can't tell you the last time I actually, saw any of it. It might have been like high school or college times.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, so that's I don't know, but I do just remember having that feeling of wanting any and all science fiction like back then.
Well, it's
It was,
interesting, Brian, because I remember when we had Jamie Anderson on the show, you had never really watched Thunderbirds either or had
Mm-mm.
knowledge of it
Mm-mm.
until you started to do a little investigation to get prepared for the conversation with him. So, yeah, it's one of those series, that it's there. Like I watched UFO when it was on that TV series, same sort of Jerry Anderson, cool music and weird looking outfits that were really late 60s, early 70s attire. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Every now and then my son when we had Mr. Anderson on I was watching Thunderbirds, and every now and then my son still asks, "Can we find that on YouTube and watch an episode?" So
Hmm.
he was impacted by it, and of course the models and the special effects and all that stuff. And I'm interested in Space 1999 if it's something he'll attach to,
Hmm.
because, ladies and gentlemen, I have a very special announcement to make right here on the Big Sci-Fi
Ooh. I'm,
podcast.
I'm leaning back right now.
My son has declared himself a Trekkie.
okay,
Woo!
wow. You got to
You
give me all the
win.
steps you took. I need
He
a book
doesn't
on how
have
to
to
do
go to
that.
college anymore. I've achieved the ultimate. No, I'm just kidding, of course. But no, he uh, on vacation.
Hmm.
We happened to watch a voice that was on antenna TV while we were in our camper, and he
Uh-huh.
was enthralled with it. I don't even
That's
remember
great.
the episode, but we had to turn it off early, and he was not pleased. And he said, "Can we finish this when we get home, then, Dad?" I'm like, "Yes,
Good.
son, I love you more than life itself." You
The
know,
the middle
and
name is finally taken effect.
Brody Tiberius Donahue.
Uh-huh.
And so we got home, and after a couple weeks, we finally had a movie night where it's just him and I said, "Let's watch the best of both worlds."
Oh my
And
goodness.
so we watched that, and he was hooked, loved every second of it.
That's great.
And he's like, "I want to know what happens next." And then just this past Friday night, we had a movie night, and we watched Star Trek 2009. And
Okay.
he was cheering, he was jumping, he was way into it. And so, anyways, I'm happier than I should be right now. But just to say, I'm curious if he'll also find Space 1999 because fun, and I really think he will
Yeah.
because it's got so many, so many explosions and crashes and stuff
Uh,
like that.
I think Jerry Anderson loved to blow stuff up because he always did. In every episode, every series, he would make these elaborate sets and then just blow them up with
Yep.
lots of pyrotechnics.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm on the same boat. I was aware of Space 1999. I've heard of it, and then I watched the documentary and was like, okay, I need to watch the show. Watched the first episode last week, fell in
Hmm.
love with it, thought it was great, and I was like, okay, I really want to watch episode 2, but I have to see if Dill wants to watch the first episode with me, see if she's into it. We watched it tonight, and she loved it.
The second episode?
No, the first
Oh,
episode.
the first episode. Okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
so she loved it, and I gotta say, like you were all right. Like the music is phenomenal. I love that opening theme.
Hmm.
I love the costumes. I like that it's 70s, but you still get the sense of what the colors mean. I'm still very curious about what the colors mean, and like,
Hmm.
okay, I get that. Like darker or brighter orange is like more technical, and then yellow I think is science. But I want to do a deep dive on that.
Yeah, yeah.
I was also going to say just yeah, really great time. It for me, it's filling a spot of there are times when I get into a original series mood and I'm like, I want to watch the original series. I want something like that. But I've seen every episode too many times. So I
Right,
need
right.
something different. And this is like filling it. It's like, okay, it's giving me a bit of that vibe, but it's different. I haven't seen it yet. So I'm looking
Just
forward to it. And I
just remember,
want,
you're watching the 1970s on this show,
yep.
and the style and the look is going to be very sometime a little. When you watch the second episode, you can see the sets are a little kind of disco,
Yeah,
but
Yeah.
that's
I did
okay.
watch into the second. I did watch into the
Yeah.
second episode, like a few minutes of the third.
Uh-huh.
Um, when are
Yeah.
we going
I'm
to talk
liking,
about the actual plot?
yeah, we gotta talk about the plot. But yeah, I'm liking, like, I love how 70s it is. And it's fun. I love the costumes. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, I guess we get into the plot.
Yeah.
Um, how intrigued were you by the first episode and this idea that there's something wrong with the moon, explosions happen, and then it gets shot out of Earth's orbit, and now they're on the moon hurling towards planet Meta, I think is what they called it.
Well, yes, yes, the meta planet, which was the whole
Yep.
basis for what they were trying to do on the with a mission that was just outside the moon's orbit. Yeah.
Right.
So I'm making a face. No one can see except for you guys, but I'm making a face. I honestly I didn't really process that that was the overarching theme
Hmm.
is the moon is kicked out of its orbit by a nuclear explosion
Hmm.
and very quickly leaves our solar system.
Hmm.
I mean, that was kind of there's so many things.
It,
So, I struggle up and down with the whole does something have to make sense, be real versus not, and as long as it's
Mm.
self-consistent. But in this case, I was struggling
well,
mightily.
when the explosion happens and the moon is rocketed away from the Earth's gravitational pull, they're all planted to the floor under tremendous G forces, and then it lets up. Why would it let up? The G forces would have continued. It would have
Oh,
maintained
that is
its. I know one minor
one
thing.
Mhm.
minor of all the like first of all, like there is just no way you could have a nuclear explosion that basically knocks, it out of orbit. Like
Right.
that's just there's just not possible without, actually blowing it to bits. And then to
Yes.
actually basically within a short period of time get out of the solar system,
Did they
like
say they're
that's
out of the solar system?
Oh,
I don't
they
yeah,
went
because
to
remember
that's where
them.
another
they're yes,
second
that's
episode. They go to another planet.
yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that's where
I
they're
need to watch
finding
the
all these
second
other planets.
episode.
So, and then just so many things about that. And I try to think back to what we knew and what we didn't know in
Right.
1975. And quite frankly, I feel like we knew enough that I'm struggling. I'm really struggling with this.
Mm.
It would have. We talked about. I don't remember if it was when we talked about Forbidden Planet a couple years ago. We talked about some movies that were in like the 1950s,
Mm-hmm.
and that was before we had ever
Oh,
landed any man-made object on any other celestial body. So
it's
we,
when we did Robinson Crusoe on Mars, and we talked
yes,
about
that
that
was
and what the
yeah, it was
knowledge of what was
right.
on Mars and how to
Right.
survive.
So I can accept a lot of things there because, like, not only had humans still have never been to Mars, but at that time we had never set anything on any other celestial body. But in 1975, we knew so much more, and this is some of this is just simple energy, orbital mechanics, orbital dynamics that I'm struggling with it because it comes off like this is supposed to be a hard sci-fi
Mm.
and some of the fundamental things are so fantastical and not hard sci-fi.
Hmm.
I am struggling with it.
Yeah,
Which is
that's fair.
understandable, Adina. I
I
mean,
don't want
Struggling
to.
mightily.
For
go
me, I
ahead.
don't know. It's like one thing I'm just like I know it's like cheesy, it's not possible, but like I don't know it on a deep enough level to really like well probably if I really thought about it. But for me it was just like, you know what? I'm here for the ride. It's cheesy. I'm excited by it, but I understand what you're saying. Where it's like, okay, there's really no basis for anything, and they should have. And yet, the
No.
fact that you're right, like, well, they would have known that in 1975, so that I could see why
Hmm.
that takes away from
It's
the
it's almost
enjoyment
as
of it.
excusable as another film called
So
where the moon goes the
yes.
other
Oh
Okay.
direction.
no.
The
Okay.
moon goes the other direction, and like you go,
Moonlight,
no,
Moon
no.
So
Rocket,
I
Moon
will
Moonlighting?
now
Moon
again.
Moonlight.
dropping?
The fundamental problems in that movie that we're not naming, that we're having fun not naming, had so many other things to do. But the fundamental thing there, where there's alien tech, I will accept that. And that's the thing is, if this show had said, if it was alien tech that drove the moon the way it did, I'd be much more accepting of that.
Or if there was a wormhole that opened and it
Yeah,
swallowed the
something.
moon and ejected it.
But they're
Yeah.
basically saying, based with contemporary-ish technology, they managed to just blow it not just out of orbit, but at relativistic speeds, basically, which is like, no, no. And then so as they are approaching other planets, the fact like they shouldn't even have time to stop. Like, how are they, because they can't stop, the moon is continuing to move. So how are they taking the Eagle, going down to another planet and getting back to the moon? The moon should be long gone. So all
Hmm.
those things,
Oh,
I'm I
Dina,
am
don't
I am
I
don't
said
trouble.
it's
ruin
I
this
am
series for me,
I am
man.
so sorry.
I
No, no,
I am
no.
so sorry.
No, Ryan, you always talk about the concept of,
um
giving, releasing belief, and,
right, yeah.
accepting
Yeah.
that
But this is
this
so
could happen.
far afield. This is like so like and again, but the thing is and this is the shame because there's so many other aspects about this show that are good. I mean, like the
Yeah.
characters are good, the acting in the context of the drama of an episode and how the episodes are
Hmm.
paced and all these things. Those are great, those were great. But so it's like this fundamental, it's like I wish I could take all those things and then just kind of retell the bit about kind of what got them on the
What
journey.
got them in that journey?
Right, right.
Yeah.
Almost like
Mm.
if it were to be remade
Oh yes.
today.
Yes. Like and there's so much that they could so much about what they're doing on the moon and the eagle doesn't need to change. I mean, like, yes, you update the screens to be modern and whatever, but there's so
Right.
much that really, and this is why it hurts me to like point out that I'm struggling with like the main plot, but
Mm.
I am massively and I feel like out of all the people that I know, like a lot of my like rocket science friends, uh I'm probably the most forgiving that I know for
Right.
accepting the physics and
Warp
engineering
drives and
flaws.
things like that.
Mm.
Yeah,
Transporters. Yeah.
but no, but see, here's the thing: the warp drive. I'll accept the warp drive because we're saying, hey, this is technology yet to be invented.
Right. And there's some theoretical, like not really theoretical, but there's some like, okay, you could imagine.
But I can just accept the fact that we're saying, hey, several hundred years from now, we're going to invent technology. Okay, I can handle that.
Right.
But in Space 1999, this is like 20-ish years or so from the date that this aired. And it's just saying, hey, look, we're storing our nuclear waste on the moon, and eventually it reaches some critical tipping point. So it's essentially contemporary technology. And it's like, no, no,
Right.
that's no.
But the idea
No.
of dumping nuclear waste on the moon, that's conceivable.
Okay, that is conceivable, but the
Yes,
idea
that's
that we can dump so much that you could not only blow the moon out of orbit, which no, we're never going to produce that much energy to do that. Like not only that, but then it's going at this like essentially relativistic speeds out of our solar system and into other solar systems. And we're there and somehow we can still visit other planets moving so fast because
See,
there's
I've
no
got to
way
get
we
to
can,
that. I'm excited.
Yeah,
yeah.
This
yeah.
is the hardest thing right now is doing this episode because I could be upstairs watching episode 2. I'm so curious about it. Like, and I say that jokingly, but like I'm
Right,
interested
yeah.
in it, and I'm curious to see. It's funny that you bring up the main science issue where I was getting hung up, and it's such a minor thing. As I'm like, I love the door devices; they're cool, but is that practical? Every time you want to open up a door, you got to
Can
point
do
your clicker at the door.
what I want to know,
Security.
Chris,
Oh, I
is
guess that makes
what
sense.
I want to
Yeah,
know.
that's actually pretty good. I like that
Yeah.
answer.
Yeah, security is a great answer.
Mhm.
Um, But what I want to know is, does the thing have a can opener? Because if it doesn't have a can opener, it's not really a
Then it would
truly
have been
multifunctional device.
it
Then
would
it's
have
not
been built by
useful.
the Swiss if it was
But
Right.
done.
it's got a little video camera on the end of
I
it.
thought
Yeah.
I
that
mean,
was
it's
cool.
got
I
a
actually
video
like
screen,
it.
I go around work with a key card to get into doors. I mean, so yeah, and it's all for security. So I can, yeah,
Oh,
that
okay.
that
Yeah,
didn't
if you
bother
think of it like
me.
a key card, I'm just
Yeah.
like, oh, yeah, that
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense. I buy that.
But
Yeah.
But
you're
you're
right.
right, Chris. That seems like a unique. It certainly would have been a unique way back then for them to open doors and get around that
Mhm.
device. Thinking about if I watched this brand new when it first aired like that, that's pretty crazy, cool looking idea.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I'm like, is it practical? But I get the sense on the key card. But from a visual standpoint, I like it's their own little spin. It's like Star Trek had the sliding doors. We point the thing at the door, which I like. It
Mhm.
Yeah.
adds something different to the universe. And it's like, okay,
Mhm.
that's a distinctly spaced 1999 thing. But yes,
Right.
as
It's
a key
interesting.
card, I accept that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's interesting too. I don't remember seeing in the first episode them using that pointer clicker device to turn on any other television or
I
view
think
screen. I think they still had to press a button. I could be wrong.
I think she
I could
pointed. I
be
think the
wrong.
I don't remember.
Doctor Commander, the Doctor character whose name I'm forgetting. I got to actually pull up the
But
IMDb.
this is why, like,
the
I'm
Helena
bothered.
Russell.
This is
Dr.
one of the reasons
Russell,
why I'm so
yes.
bothered by like the fundamental science engineering flaw is because all these other details I feel like they did a really good job with.
Yeah.
Very
So
practical.
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
happened?
I think
Like,
here's what happened, Adina. They said, "What can we do that no one's ever done, no matter
oh,
how preposterous it is?" Oh yes. So
Let's
I
blow the moon into outer space, and it'll be a traveling platform for adventure and excitement
But
for what 60 episodes or 40 episodes or however it was for two
yeah.
seasons.
But Adina's right. It's like great premise, just tweak it a little bit. Oh, it's not the
yeah.
nuclear waste, it's some alien technology. Boom, there you go. We still have the
Or
same
a
premise.
wormhole. There's a
Or a
wormhole nearby,
wormhole.
like
Yeah,
something that got
exactly.
triggered, like some exotic energy that's never been,
yeah.
something. But then
Yeah.
also you have to deal with the fact that you need to, as the moon is visiting other places, somehow you need to slow down, speed back up, So there's still another aspect because if you keep just moving and
Hmm.
accelerating, you can't visit these other planets the way that they're
Yeah.
describing it.
Hmm. Hmm.
Stargate did a good
So,
job of that.
Interesting.
In Stargate
yeah.
Universe, where they're like a Voyager like situation where they're on a ship and they can't control it, but they go near planets and they're like, okay, we can interact with the Stargate for X amount of time so we can go explore the planet, but like we got to get back to the ship. So they acknowledge it. But you're right, that is kind of weird if they're not even acknowledging the
Hmm.
fact that, oh, we got to get back to the moon in time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, or
So
something that allows you to like orbit that new planet and then break
Hmm.
orbit. Like, I don't know, something. The fact that they didn't even, and like I said, and I think I'm the most forgiving person I
Yeah.
know with this stuff, and I just could not. I was just too
Well,
distracted.
just
one
too
thing I
distracted
did
by
read
it.
about Adina was
Mhm.
that the explosion, where the nuclear waste was on
Mhm.
the far side of the moon. And
Yeah, it's not any better.
a guy that you once heard of called Isaac Asimov
Mhm.
said that if that happened on the dark side of the moon, it would have propelled the moon directly into the planet Earth because its trajectory would have caused it to go
You
towards us,
guys
Yeah,
not
should
yeah. So
see
away from
Adina's
us.
that's
faces.
But
yeah.
otherwise, Isaac
Yeah.
Asimov said he enjoyed the show. He just that was like,
Yeah,
I have a problem
that
with
was
that.
yes, that's part of it too. I picked up on that as well, except for
Hmm.
again, the amount of energy that you would need to do that is, I think, something that is unlikely to be produced in human existence. It's
Yeah.
so
Right.
so 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 so
I
much.
haven't
So
said a
much.
lot so far,
Yeah.
but I am enjoying listening to you three so much go back and forth about this. I want to comment on something
Please
Yeah,
now that
do,
I
comment
Brian.
have,
away.
Thank you.
since,
Thank you.
yes, Martin Landau,
Yeah.
Hmm.
really great choice for this character.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I
Like he's
agree.
got a commanding presence, but he's sensitive, he's compassionate. He
Mhm.
goes in there saying, I got to do my duty. We got to try to get to that new planet. We don't want this launch to not go up. We've got a very specific window. But as soon as he starts seeing what's going on for real, like you see it click, you see him morally start to realize what he has to do. And I just like that in a
Yeah.
commanding officer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he plays it really well.
He's
Yeah.
thoughtful.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
thoughtful. Like he's like, I
There
got to
you
make a hard
go.
call,
Great
Yeah.
but
word.
he's like, let me listen to not everybody's opinion, but let me get the facts, understand, okay, what's
Yeah.
really happening.
Yeah.
To the point where it's like, yeah, the situation sucks, but I was kind of happy that I think is it Commissioner Bergman who's was or chairman.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
was really happy when it's just one of those things where he came on the base and he's like, we got to do this. And they're like, no, we can't do it. And then it's like, oh, okay, now I see why we can't do it. It's a very
Right,
I felt
right.
vindicated
That
for
scene when
for the
I'm
commander.
sorry, Chris. That scene where he has to come up to them,
Mm-hmm.
and Martin Landau and him are, so it's Commander Koenig. It's Commander, right? Not
Right,
Captain.
right.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
And
it's
Commander
Commander.
Koenig.
Koenig and then Commissioner Bergman, like they have that moment where they're kind of measuring each other when
Mm-hmm.
the door opens. I thought that was a very good
Yeah.
scene, intense in all the right ways, but they're still trying to do their duty. They're still trying to be professional. You know what I mean? I just thought it was between those two actors a great scene.
And we got to talk. I think we talked about this off air, but there's a scene with Commander Koenig talking to Commissioner Bergman on like a monitor. And I love it because it's like two monitors side by side, obviously the same thing. And then you have Commander Koenig walking back and forth between the two monitors as he's talking. And I just thought that blocking was really interesting. You can convey like just how tense the relationship between him and the commissioner are with the new information that, hey, there's something going on here. We can't really be thinking about anything. We got to figure this out. And commissioner's like, no, you gotta prep for the meta landing.
Well, the thing about Martin Landau, and I first saw him when he appeared on the Outer Limits, and he appeared on a number of episodes of the Outer Limits in the early 1960s. Then the mid 60s, he was on Mission Impossible.
Right.
Then he did this show, and he's such an esteemed actor that he brings that same quality to all the roles. Believe it or not, the man was never recognized until he won an Academy Award for playing Bela Lugosi in a Tim Burton film about Ed Wood.
Oh, I remember that. That was Ed
Yes,
Wood. That was the name of the
that was
film,
Ed
right?
Wood.
Yes,
And that's
I
when
remember
Martin
that.
Landau, and when he won that award, it was like the culmination of all of his acting. And this show too, that type of intensity and that humanity that he brings to it, he showed that in The Outer Limits. He showed that in Mission Impossible. That's why he's my favorite character on the show. I agree with you, Brian. I think he is he was a perfect person. And another interesting thing about Jerry Anderson shows, he always chose Americans in the lead roles. And that actually, when they were making the show, upset the producers because they wanted to have English actors in the lead role. And Jerry Anderson, said, no, I want Americans. I always think that was done because the intention was this is going to be for an American audience.
Absolutely.
And we want Americans to be the lead character. Even in Thunderbirds, all the family, the Tracy family are all Americans. In Supercard, the main character is Mike Mercury, an American astronaut. It's just interesting. They always had the intention that these shows were for an American audience. And having Martin Landau and go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, Steve. I think that I'm amazed, and our friend Jeffrey Morris pointed it out too. But I'm just amazed at the diversity in this show
Yeah.
all around, and it's very unique, and I would say even stronger than we saw in the original Trek series.
For sure. Like Dr. Russell is amazing in that I don't think there's a single moment where it's like they comment on her being a woman or like her femininity or anything like that. It's just, oh, she's the doctor and she's going to like do doctor things. It's like there's nothing about that. It's like even Jeffrey Morris pointed out the thing. It's like we got Uhura, which is great, but she didn't do a ton of stuff in the original series,
She
whereas
wasn't a
Dr.
main
Russell
character. She was a
is,
supporting character.
yeah,
Yeah.
she's front and
Well, it's
center
a difference
figuring
of what
out
a
what's going on.
difference what a decade makes,
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
think.
You're quite right,
Also,
Because
Adina. Yes.
remember, Gene Roddenberry tried the original pilot
yeah.
had,
Yep.
number one was a woman, and that didn't pass, yeah, essentially. So,
Hmm.
Mm.
like I said, I think that's just a simple
But
difference of
yeah,
the
it just
decade,
like
what a decade makes.
for sure. I also really liked, and I can't find his name because I actually can't recognize him on the IMDb list. But I guess his number two, the guy
That was
with the
played
older
by Barry
gentleman.
Morris. That was Barry
Yeah, I
Morris,
Morse.
another
really
veteran British actor who was in that role.
was that big because it says it's Bergman.
Yeah,
Oops!
he
I've
was
been
Victor
talking about
Bergman.
Bergman
Yeah,
when I was meeting the commissioner guy. Bergman, I
right.
think, is like the number two
Yeah.
person
That was
in the
Yes.
Barry
show.
Yeah.
Morris's character was Victor Bergman, I think, as I
Yeah.
saw on the
Yes, it looks like it.
um,
The
where I
science
saw this.
Roy
professor.
Dotrice. Roy
Yeah,
Dotrice, I think,
because
plays
I.
the
Oh yeah, sorry. Go
commissioner.
ahead. Ah, okay, that makes sense. Because I
Yeah.
just liked his delivery where it takes a certain type of actor to be able to deliver science. And I
Yeah.
just love his thoughtful delivery. It's very quiet, but
He's very
authoritative.
Shakespearean in the way he
Yeah.
delivered his lines. I
Mhm.
could all see him being in a Shakespeare film or
Oh
movie.
yeah,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure. Okay. So what else do we want to cover? Like how do we feel about the uniforms? I was curious about that. I guess uniforms and overall set design.
I will tell you this, that when I saw the uniforms in Star Trek: The Motion Picture, I thought they
Mhm.
turned to this show for inspiration because the
Yeah.
cream color, the coloring, the way it was done, it was like with the belts. It's
Hmm.
very much was inspired, if it did,
Mhm.
the uniforms, which they only used for that one movie and then jinxed them
Hmm.
for the next films and everything after that. But yeah,
Well,
it just
again,
seemed like
sign of the times, 70s versus
Yeah.
80s, and
yeah,
Yep.
exactly. Exactly. You're quite right, Adina. And I love the giant brass zipper along the side. I mean, you
Yeah.
can't miss that zipper.
You can't miss the zipper, and it makes it practical. It's like, okay, I kind of get a sense of how you would get out of the uniform. How do you put them
Hmm.
on? It makes sense. You
Yep.
unzip the zipper. There you go. And
What
it's
I
clear.
did, yeah, what was good about the uniforms too, I felt like they were fairly practical. They weren't so form fitting. They weren't super ridiculously tight.
Hmm.
Hmm.
They definitely showed curves and shape and stuff, but they weren't overly so.
not like
And
season one Next Generation
Oh,
uniforms.
right,
yeah, those
right.
were really like to the point
So
where
I
they were getting
appreciated
injured.
that. And I
Yeah.
also think the set design is really good. Like
Yeah.
Hmm.
it looks, I mean, it's not that far off from how some stuff looks
Yeah.
Yeah.
now,
It actually
you
gives
know?
me the vibe of like if
Mm.
2001 A Space Odyssey was a TV show, it feels like this could have been that show. Like it's like
Hmm.
the designs or the
Yes.
set design felt very familiar, like similar to that. And I
That's
don't know
interesting.
if there's maybe Adina, you can explain this in terms of from a science perspective, but do the white lights make it feel like you're less in space and make it feel more comfortable? That's the vibe I got where you have the white lights everywhere to make it feel like,
So,
okay, we're not just in space, but it's more, not homey's not the right word, but like, okay, I can kind of
yeah.
feel
So
more comfortable
that's
here.
what they did for set design, I think, is purely for set design and for lighting for a TV show.
Hmm.
Okay.
In real life, yes, they care deeply about light. Like people care about lighting because you need light to do your work. You need to turn down light so you can sleep and kind of get in a circadian rhythm. So there's a lot of research and a lot of things about that, but nothing about what you just said about like no one's trying to pretend they're not in space. They're trying to,
Hmm.
basically they want people to be healthy and thriving, but
Hmm.
no, in fact, having windows is an important thing. It's been something I've been in some discussions about when I worked on certain projects, but like having windows.
Hmm.
If you have a space station, you
Have some
kind of
windows.
want windows because you want people to be able to see out. Not being able to see your environment is a big deal. However, windows are incredibly expensive to make and maintain, and they're potentially subject to damage, all these things. So the International Space Station was originally built, pretty sure, with no windows. The cupola was added years later to give them,
Oh, interesting.
a view, and that's a source of angst, um,
Mm,
is having windows or not, because there's pluses and minuses. But no, we're not
yeah,
trying
Yeah,
to
it's
because
not like
I
yeah.
mean, in the first. Oh yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Brian.
I'm sorry, guys. I feel like it's not like you're building a car, an
No.
automobile, and you're gonna slap a window on it. It's definitely more cost effective to not have windows
Well, and one of the
and
reasons is if you
engineering wise, right?
yeah, well,
Yeah, we saw what
yes,
happened
it's
to the first in the first episode with that dude who like smashed the window.
yeah,
Yes,
but
with his
it's
yeah.
from cost and engineering. Like, so the material to make a window is more expensive than the material to make the shell. But also that, so if you're going to put a window in, now you have an interface that you have to worry about. That interface, that seal and all that can't fail. That's a big deal. So there's
Yeah.
putting in, it's not easy to design windows into a space station, but we want them, but it's not easy.
Yeah, but yeah, it makes
Yeah.
sense to have them. I like that answer. Like, okay, that's a good reason because that's like, yeah, there's no windows except for
Yeah.
maybe that on when they're on the, I forgot what they called it, like their Bay 2 or their like nuclear waste station number
Mhm.
2. Then there's a
Yeah.
window, but yeah, it's just the big
Yeah.
lights.
Now and so, the Apollo, like the landing, I mean, they had windows because they needed it to navigate. That was part of their navigation system. The pilots needed to see out
Yeah.
to see where they were going. So windows were absolutely necessary there. The space station, they're not necessary for that reason, right? So there's whole different considerations.
Interesting.
But one of the things about the opening scene, I was like, yes, when I saw the opening scene, I'm like, wow, this looks exactly like, if I didn't know better, I'd think I was watching 2001, because
Mm-hmm.
he's on like the transit, and that woman, flight attendant comes in, and the way she's walking in her uniform, and she's holding a tray and she's being careful and everything. That was like that scene from
You're
Yeah,
2001, like the
right.
exactly.
same scene.
That's what I wrote down as well, Dean. I wrote down the sets had a real 2001 Space Odyssey feel to them,
Hmm.
clean white. Yeah, it really. But again, they're once again, Jerry Anderson was approached by Stanley Kubrick to do the special effects for 2001. He said, I can't do it. I've got other projects I'm working on. I can't work with you on that. So you can see where they still picked up on that vibe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because to me it felt like, and it's exactly what Jeffrey Morris was saying, where it's you can see how everything works together. Take out the moon uh, doing its thing, but like you can see, okay, here's how the Eagle works. We can see where the docking mechanism is, and we can see the functionality. And it felt like, in a way that we don't get to see with Trek, where you can see all the little hatches and it makes sense. Whereas Trek is like, it's so grand and big that we don't really get a sense of how things work. So that was really well done from the practical side of things.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to find it while we're talking. There was a while when the company I worked for, we were working on a commercial space station, and I'm certain we put out some renderings of what we imagined our interior to look like.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not finding it, but it also
Oh,
has a
That would be
very
cool.
clean a very clean white look.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but more, it's more about, functional and no frills. There's a lot of that. A lot of that.
Hmm.
If I
yeah.
find
I
it, I'll
tell
let you
you,
guys know.
I tell you one thing I can see in this show just in the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
And again, some of this is influenced by having the privilege of being able to screen Jeffrey's film, Eagle Obsession. I see why people love this show just in the first episode. Without
Yeah.
anything else, I see why this show is something special to a lot of people, just like Star Trek is to Trekkies. Like, I get it just from the first episode, and that is saying something
Mm-hmm.
um, about a show when you can go, oh, I get the obsession now. I get why
Yeah.
people keep coming back to the show to watch it over and over, why they're drawn to the characters. Uh, it, I mean, I watched it on my phone. I didn't. Oh, I know. I did cast it to the TV
Mm-hmm.
for half of it, but I even on my phone, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought, I get it. I get it now. I'm a Space 1999 fan, guys, just from
Yeah,
one episode.
me too.
Again, and
I'm right there with you.
I think most people who watched the show, including myself in 1975, ignore the idea of they're being blasted from the Earth, that they're traveling at such a speed that they can make it to other solar systems and other planets. And we know how far away we are from the nearest star that might inhabit or have planets that are inhabitable, possibly. But we suspend that belief, like I said earlier about you, Brian, is that we
Right.
suspend that belief to be able to watch a show where they bring these stories forward about their survival, they're wanting to find a new home that they know they're never going to make it back to Earth, and this is a common theme with a lot of different TV series, a lot of different sci-fi stories where you are away from the Earth, you want to get back. How are you going to do it? And if you can't, what are you going to do then? And I think that's the beauty of this. Yes, consumables, they would burn through all those at some time. I mean, how many eagles were destroyed in this very first episode? How many do they have in their bay to keep replenishing them? It's like, yeah, you're gonna run out of
Well,
eagles pretty soon, kids. Besides
that's
people to fly them.
that was 75. And Voyager, what did they do? They blew up shuttles every single week. That's
Yep.
all I'll say
Where'd they get
about
the
that.
extra ones from
Yeah.
when they're all the
But
way out in
They
the
just
Delta
replicate them.
Quadrant?
but
It's
I'll
like
say this about the show for me and how I'm feeling about it. Like I haven't seen the other episodes, but I've
Mhm.
enjoyed it so much to the point where I'm like, I would love to, if I had unlimited time, make a separate YouTube channel just about Space 1999. I don't think they
Oh,
exist out
wow.
there. I'm definitely going to do like one short about like
Mhm.
why fans of Trek should watch it. I might do some breakdown videos. We'll see. But I'm into it. I
Ooh,
want to explore it.
That's
I want to
great.
do a deep
that's
dive
big.
into the series.
Do
Right?
it. Just
I
do
think that's a
it.
Absolutely.
great idea. And again, I invite you, Chris, to watch some of the other Jerry, not the puppet shows. I mean, we know about
Mm.
those, okay? But find UFO.
Okay. I have to
And that
actually do
was
that.
again the same kind of a cool vibe characters with there's this secret organization that is protecting humanity from alien invasion, and that's what it was. And it's got
Yeah.
the same vibey thing where you have or watch the Roy Thinnis film Journey to the Far Side of the Sun,
Mm.
another of Jerry, I think it was his first film that Jerry Anderson did. Again,
Hmm.
interesting concept of going to the far side of the sun and finding a duplicate Earth that's just a little different.
Wow.
So
You had me at
there's
that.
a
That's
lot for you to
fascinating.
unpack and enjoy from
I
from his
I
filmmaking.
think too, one thing I want to say about this series is you can have all the special effects, you can have great production, great music. You can even have great actors. But if the characters aren't interesting,
Mhm.
if it's not character driven, eventually the interest is going to fall off.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
I think that besides the crazy science of the moon movie we watched, uh,
Moon
I
Poop,
also
I think it
found
was
the
called.
characters uninteresting. I
You
didn't
didn't like
find
it?
them that intriguing.
Even with
So,
the main guy
so
singing Africa? Sorry, I had to bring that up.
yeah, yeah. No, but I think
And the
that's
other
something
character having irritable bowel syndrome. That's just
right.
always a good thing for
I
a plot
think
line for you to like characters.
Right.
I just think the characters are interesting
They
right
are.
off the bat in
And
Yep.
this series. And
you can
so,
see why Nick Carter's character was Jeffrey's favorite, and having a chance to meet these actors
mhm,
who are his heroes. I mean, it's as much as when we go to a convention and we
Hmm.
get
Hmm.
to meet actors who are in our favorite Star Trek series, from TOS all the way through Strange New Worlds. You get
Hmm.
to meet them, and You get to find out they're really interesting people. Well, we've already had a few people on our show to know just how interesting they really are in their, personal
And
lives.
it was cool to see Nick Tate as like see him in this show, and for me to go from, oh yeah, he was the bad, like kind of the annoying ish guy in TNG, and then became the guy that everybody fell in love with in that one episode of DS9, and then O'Brien had to sort of betray him because of whatever was going on there. And now it's like, okay, now we're seeing Nick Tate, and that's really cool.
Yeah. And I will say that, Chris, if you survive all the way through the second season, their most popular episode in the second season appears where you find out just how Barbara Brain and Martin Lando's characters feel towards each other when they're put in a
Okay.
situation of life peril. And it's considered the fan favorite episode. So there's a lot to look forward to.
I'm
There's a
looking
lot of-
forward to it.
Yeah.
I hope it has a satisfying ending. That's probably my biggest fear, because I heard it only had 2 seasons, so I don't know if it was like they were planning on doing a third and then got canceled. I'm curious. I guess we'll see.
We never really found out what happened to those folks on Gilligan's Island because that show got canceled. We never saw what happened to the Robinson family, if they ever made it back to Earth from the Jupiter 2. That's the problem when the show
another
gets
show.
Yeah.
Swiss
I'm
Family
never
Robinson, though. Oh,
I
sorry.
was
Go ahead.
never satisfied with any closure for Knight Rider. I felt like that show I didn't like
I
that.
don't
that's-
remember.
that's not
A
what I
lot of
wanna
these shows,
hear.
I don't remember how
God,
they ended.
Knight
I
Rider.
don't know.
Yeah.
I don't even know. And I'm okay.
Okay.
I'm okay with not knowing. It might be better not knowing.
Yeah.
Maybe. Because I'm still recovering from Alien 3. Like those first opening minutes, I'm like so angry about it.
My wife,
So
when we saw that movie,
angry.
she was so mad. She will not watch it again because the way they end that movie. She
Yep.
was just, even though they brought her back again in the fourth film, it wasn't the same. It
Oh, they
was-
brought her. Oh, I need to. I started watching before, and
the
I haven't
fourth
finished
one
it.
is-
Spoiler
boy,
alert!
boy.
Right
Yeah.
here.
Spoiler alert.
Sorry,
I haven't
kids.
watched any of those.
But either way, though, I'm excited about watching more Space in
Me
1999.
too.
Looking
There you
forward
go.
to it.
And again, even with my fundamental plot issues, yes, I still want to watch some more.
Good.
That's good to
I
hear.
just want to have a disclaimer right here. Fun fact about Brian Donahue from Canton, Ohio.
Okay,
I
everybody, brace
never
yourself.
once in my whole life pretended to be James T. Kirk or Captain Picard or Worf or Riker. But I may
pretend
have
on the daily.
pretended- I may have pretended to be Michael Knight on
Okay.
occasion
Oh,
growing up as a kid.
you want to be
I'll
a
say this.
Hasselhoff? Okay.
I'll say
No,
this.
I want to be Michael Knight. I do not want to be David Hasselhoff.
You just want to have a cool car that talks to you, right?
That's one of the best TV cars of all time. Yeah,
It
absolutely.
really
Of course.
is. It really is. It could do everything that the Mach 5 could do in Speed Racer and more. That was a big deal.
And
yeah.
more.
And
Yeah,
I'll just say
I-
one last thing. You were talking about the music, Brian.
Yeah.
Do you know how popular Barry Gray's music was from Jerry Anderson movies? The March of the Thunderbirds theme from Thunderbirds, when they bring them all out, there was actually talk about changing the British national anthem to that song. It is so popular. It's so beloved.
Wow.
There was actually talk that should be their anthem for the country. That's how popular it is.
I'm going to look that up later.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I tried
I
to
can
find
remember
it.
it.
I remember. I don't know what it was. It might have been. I was watching the British Grand Prix, and the British band was playing it, and the commentators at the event said that there had been talk about wanting to do that. That's just
I'll
how
be darned.
popular, how big Barry Gray was as a producer of music. It's amazing. He's kind of like our little friend Nami, who's
Yeah.
doing all the music for Strange New Worlds, and she just keeps coming up with great music for every episode that fits it so very, very well. And Barry Gray did the same thing for Jerry Anderson. So,
Yeah.
as far as music goes, it's really something special.
You know,
Yeah.
maybe that's going to be a tomorrow playlist. Like maybe we'll try and see if I can get like a 1 hour mix of that intro or an extended version or something, and just have that going for a couple of hours. Because I go back and forth between that I'll go back and forth between that, maybe some more David Arnold Bond stuff, and then maybe I'll throw in some Strange New Worlds. We'll see.
Yeah.
But it could be a fun day tomorrow.
I think it's a good idea. Yeah.
Well, that, my friends, does it for another great discussion here on the Big Sci-Fi Podcast. Thank you all for chatting away with me and sharing your thoughts and feelings about Space 1999. Remember, you can find us where you find your favorite podcasts, and we love getting feedback, questions, or even suggestions for future episodes. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you next week, same place, same time.